So, when I was a young guy, 21 years old, maybe I was 19. No, I was 19. No, younger than that, huh? 19 years old. I had some contemplations with God. I was wondering, well, God, are you or aren't you? Right? So, I'm on the way to the bank one day, and I had 3 pennies on my dresser. And I was going to take the 3 pennies with me, so that because my check was $300 and something and 97 cents at the time, and I didn't want 97 cents in my pocket, so I figured I'd bring 3 cents with me. I wouldn't have to carry all that jingling change. But I walked out the door because my mind was busy, attention deficit disorder. I walked out the door contemplating with God, praying to Him, or asking Him whether He exists or whether He doesn't. And I forgot the 3 pennies. So halfway down the road, I turned around to get my 3 pennies. I went back to the dresser, picked up my 3 pennies, and walked out the door. And I thought to myself, what a question to ask God. Would He grant me a sign? Now, back then, I was more respectful of God than I am now. I guess familiarity breeds a little contempt, but I know He loves me, right? But I sincerely had to know. I sincerely had to know. And so I asked, Dear God, are you or aren't you? Would you give me a sign? Would you give me 3 pennies on the way to the bank? I won't take any pennies off of you. I'll take the 3 shiny pennies out of my pocket and I'll replace them with the dirty pennies I find on the road. And I started walking and praying and asking a God that I didn't know whether I was going to believe in or not. This was a crossroads in my life, remember. This was not any normal time in my life. This was a real time of testing where I was really asking whether or not God would say would existed. And if He didn't give me the 3 pennies, I was going to write them off. I was going to say, you know what, God? Whatever. I don't know whether you exist or don't. You didn't give me the 3 pennies. C'est la vie. I will live the way I live because I don't know whether you really exist or not. So I'm on my way to the bank, right? And I'm looking for pennies to see if God really exists. I mean, who am I to ask God for 3 pennies? But I asked. Dear Lord, please give me a penny. I gotta have a penny. Please. Just grant me 3 pennies on the way to the bank and I'll believe. But if you don't grant me 3 pennies, I can't believe. I just can't. I have to know. You've got to tell me who you are. You've got to show yourself. Please give me a sign. Please give me 3 pennies. So I'm walking and I'm really praying very sincerely. I'm not seeing any pennies. I'm a very anxious person. And I decided, you know what, this is rather kind of dumb. I feel like an idiot. I feel kind of foolish asking God for 3 pennies. This is kind of stupid. So I said, you know what? Nah, forget it. You know, I give up. Forget it. But the problem was that as soon as I said forget about it, I looked down and 2 steps after I, just immediately after I tried to give up, there on the side of the road, I saw a penny. Oh, this was monumental. Because you see, before I could quit. But now that I've got a penny, I've got 1 foot in the grave. Oh, now I have to complete it. It was like God saying, yeah, I'll take your bet. He anteed up. It was almost like, oh, really? You want to start something? Okay, boy, here's your penny. What are you going to do with it? I was afraid. I was in awe at this first penny. Now remember, I asked for 3 pennies, but I asked for them this way. So look, I can't get more than 3 pennies. Give me 4 pennies, I won't believe. And if you give me 2 pennies, I won't believe. It has to be exactly 3 pennies on this 5-mile walk or whatever it is, pretty close to 5 mile walk to the bank. So I pick up this penny, and now things are a little bit more urgent now, aren't they? A little bit more serious than they were before, because before I could just quit. Now I'm praying every step of the way, and every step felt like hours. Please, God, please grant me a penny, because if you don't grant me a penny, I won't believe. I'm stubborn. I would stick to my bargain here. He stuck to his. Please grant me 3 pennies. If you give me 3 pennies, it gives me hope to something to believe in. But if I don't get 3 pennies, I don't see you. Who are you? Please give me 3 pennies. I gotta know. Please, God, give me 3 pennies. I'm walking. I'm not seeing any pennies for a long time. Haven't seen a penny. Don't know whether I'm gonna see any pennies. I'm walking. I look down, and, well, I got to the point before I looked down, as I was looking around for pennies, where I quit again. I got to the point where I was like, I'm tired of looking for pennies. I'm tired of this whole silly game. I was exhausted. And before I looked down the second time that way and found my second penny, I quit. Within 2 steps after I quit, I now found my second penny. Now this penny was severely significant because, you see, I had just gone through, I don't know how long, 20 minutes, 30 minutes of agonizing prayer, asking for a penny and not getting one, and then quitting a second time. And then within 2 steps, I look down and there's a penny. Anyway, now I'm almost to the bank, and I've got to find 3 pennies, no more or no less than 3 pennies. And so I'm praying really hard now. Please, God, I have to have a penny. Please, I don't care what the penny looks like. I don't care what the condition of the penny is. I don't care if it's bent. I don't care if it has a hole in it. I don't care what the penny looks like. Just give me a penny. In any condition, give me a penny. So I'm walking, and I'm walking, and I'm walking, and I'm walking, and I'm praying, and I'm getting very exhausted, and the bank is right in front of me. I'm in the parking lot. It's a big parking lot, but I'm in the parking lot of the bank. And I'm thinking, all of that exhausting time I spent 4 miles looking for 3 pennies. I get to 2 pennies, and not gonna happen. No way, no how. 50 yards, whatever, 50, not far away, not gonna find it. Done. I lose. Gave up for the 3rd time. 2 steps right after I gave up, I look down and I see something under a lamppost, and I couldn't make out what it looked like because it was all bent up. I mean, severely bent up. I mean, almost completely unrecognizable. I pick this thing up and I look at it very carefully. I didn't even know whether it was a penny or not until I examined it. And sure enough, it was copper. It was a penny. Right? I'm looking at this penny, and I'm examining this bent, gnarled penny. And I start to walk. I take 2 steps, and I think, I can't take this. Amazing the way God takes me through the steps slowly, because I must be dense. I just asked for a penny in any condition, and He gave me one, and I said, I can't take this. Now, let's recap a little bit here, shall we? First of all, let's take a look at maybe the odds of this. Maybe I should have played the lottery, because, well, I think I did. I think I won something bigger than the biggest lottery in the world right there, because God gave me something, I believe, special. Was it a coincidence? Oh, remotely, oh yes, it was a great coincidence. Well, it was the reason why I was asking whether it was a God, because there were too many coincidences in my life. But let's take a look at how much of a coincidence this actually was. All right? Let's take a look at this now. I had never asked God for a sign in my life. I have never been so sincere about something in my entire life. And I asked for something very sincerely. I asked for a sign that time in my life. One. So that's very significant, to ask for a sign at that time and for it to be granted one time. Even though it was just 3 pennies. I asked for 3 pennies. Now, yes, the odds of me finding 3 pennies and only 3 pennies on the way to the bank, they're not, it's not 50-50, let's put it that way. Because I've taken plenty of walks and found maybe a penny here or there. I've never found exactly 3 pennies within a certain amount of time. Exactly. Right? So the odds of that aren't that high. But now we're starting to look at some things in depth. Now let's take a look at the fact that every time I quit, 3 times in a row, not while I was looking for the penny, because I was searching the road the whole way, saw not zippo, 0, 1 penny until I quit. No other time, as if God had said, I'm not letting you quit and I'm anteing up. As if at the time that I had no faith, He carried my faith. The funny thing is that the way it happened like that, 3 times in a row, think about the odds of that on top of the odds of the other things. Now let's take a look at the 3rd penny that I asked for. I asked for it bent, and I was given the 3rd penny is now bent, misshapen. And then the odds of me looking down, the way it all happened, and saying, I can't take that. Now, if this hadn't happened, I could honestly say that God had not answered or had not given me the sign. And I'm not suggesting that everybody ask for a sign or test God, because God knows. He does what He does, and everybody wants their 3 pennies. I'm talking to some people who are actually jealous, and I don't want that. But I'm telling you what happened to me, and I'm telling you it's real. And I'm like, it's as if some other prophet had happened to some other prophet, and they're telling you. Am I a prophet? I don't know what I am. All I'm telling you is what happened to me. I was granted 3 pennies, and God gave them to me. And I hope that other people look at their lives and stop thinking to themselves, it was just a coincidence. How many coincidences are you going to come up with to deny God? Because that's what came into my mind. How many coincidences? How many times have you seen things happen that you questioned weren't from God Himself, and said, well, that was a coincidence? See, after a while, and this is what the Jews did, this is what the people did with Jesus. They said, oh, well, give us a sign. Well, I don't have anything to talk about. I have no excuse before God to say that He isn't real, because I asked for a sign, He gave it to me. And I thank Him for it, but there's no possible way that if I'm judged, that I could say to God, well, I didn't know. I wasn't given any type of sign. So, I better believe, right? Take care. God bless.